Okay friends, today we are going to get started on making a background for a mug of hot chocolate. First thing you're going to do, neatly write your name on the back of your paper, and then you're going to turn it over. And we're going to get started just by drawing a little plate for our cup to sit on. I'm practicing it with my finger. It's not a big old circle like this. It's more of an ellipse or an oval. And I'm just going to carefully sketch out that oval shape. If I want to be really fancy, I can draw another smaller oval inside of it for the center of my plate. Now that I've got my plate, I'm going to add a line to be the edge of a table. And now is the fun part where I get to decorate. We're using crayons today. You can use any color you want. I do want you to try and use a white crayon. You won't be able to see it when I draw. If you have really good eyes, you might be able to see what I'm drawing. But once I start painting, it's going to show up and it's going to look really awesome. When I'm coloring with crayons, I'm going to press down really hard so I have a nice thick layer. So what you're going to do to decorate is create a pattern in the top and a pattern in the bottom. That pattern is up to you. If you're not pressing down very hard, that paint is going to cover it up. So make sure you press down hard. I like to go over my lines 1 or 2 times. I'm going to finish designing mine in super speed. Okay, now that I have this all designed in crayons, I'm ready to paint with my temper cakes. Remember, with my temper cakes, these are dry, so I've got to take my brush, put it in the water, make sure you wipe it on the lip, and then get your paint good and wet. You want to really get those paints wet before you start painting, because that's going to help our crayons show up really well. So I'm getting that paint nice and wet. And I'm just going to carefully paint over my designs. Every time my paintbrush leaves that paper, you're going to want to put it back in the water. That way you have really wet paint, paint stay clean, and you get this awesome resist effect. So again, every time my brush leaves the paper, before you get more paint, even if it's the same color, put it back in that water. That way, you can see those beautiful designs that you painted. So super simple. If you've got a smaller design you want to paint, like if I want to paint the circle, I can go ahead and use a smaller brush. Again, get that paint really wet. And use that smaller brush to paint. Alright, there it is. My painting is complete. Okay, once you're done with your painting for your background, we're going to go ahead and get started on the mug. You're going to do the exact same thing. So start with some crayons and draw yourself a nice design for your mug. Again, make sure you press down hard with those crayons and don't be afraid to trace over your lines 1 or 2 times, because that is going to make the difference when we paint. If you noticed on your first painting you were having some trouble getting these designs to show up, now is your chance to go back and really press down hard. Once you're done with your designs, what I want you to do before you start painting, neatly get your name on the back. Once that's all done, on my little piece of paper, I'm going to go ahead and paint it just like I did before. All right, my painting is all done. I'm going to set this aside to dry, and then we'll talk about putting our sculptures together.